Pro Group Management. Workers' comp that works for you.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, Bryan Wachter joins us. He's president of the Retail Association of Nevada. Here for the whole show on all new Nevada Newsmakers.
For 50 years, Nevada Heating has been keeping people comfortable in their homes. At Nevada Heating, call the Do It Right guys and get the heat back on today. Call us today and we'll fix it today. That's the Nevada Heating way. Why freeze for days on end when Nevada Heating can get your furnace fixed today? Call us today and we'll fix it today at 323-5585 or schedule us on our website at nevadaheating.com.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain. And for over 90 years, the Nevada Trucking Association has been the voice for the men and women in the trucking industry. From Carson City to Washington, D.C., we advocate for policies to protect our trucking companies and keep commerce flowing. Because Nevada's and America's prosperity is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're always delighted to welcome back to the program Bryan Wachter. He is president of the Retail Association of Nevada. Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much, Sam. How are you?
I'm doing very well. We are taping this the morning of February 25th, and yesterday was the State of the Union. Your thoughts on watching that?
Well, I think the president had a big task in front of him, trying to reset some of his key things that got him elected into 24, like the economy and immigration. I'm not sure that we saw anything new added to that conversation. And so I think I was a little disappointed, from the retail side, not hearing a lot about the tariffs, not of anything about the refund process or what we can expect, over the next 12 months. And instead, we got a little bit of conversation about pricing, which is a little confusing because in Nevada, right, gas today is about 10 cents higher than it was in 2024. And so, not that that's a huge amount, but when we're looking at the prices that Nevadans are paying and where they're paying it and why, it's hard for them, I think, to recognize that we are in a place that might feel like winning. And so I was really hoping that speech might be able to lay out some foundation, set up some midterms, but instead I think we saw, maybe a more glorified stump speech than we're used to.
It seemed to me to be almost entertainment-based, that the president was determined that he was going to set a record for the longest speech made. And obviously, with all of his rallies, he enjoys himself in these settings. And it seems like he's always more than happy to poke the bear. And especially in an election cycle where he's not on the ballot, but he always wants to be front and center in the nation's attention. It's and stepping back from the politics and the reality of it, but looking at it from a non-emotional, non-partisan basis, it seemed to me like it was a 2-hour entertainment show.
I think that was a lot of it. I mean, the stories that were told are extraordinary, and they were done by ordinary Americans, and those stories deserve to be celebrated. We've traditionally seen the State of the Union, though, more used as from a policy basis, setting up a legislative agenda, setting up these long-term policy goals that the president has that are going to actually drive down the costs for everyday Americans, so that Americans feel better off. And so I think there was a little bit of a trade-off last night, not focusing enough on that, and instead focusing a lot on what you said was the show, Sam.
Um, Let me ask you this, because you have a unique perspective on it. When we say drive down costs, how do we do that through the government? Isn't that something that private industry and should be in the process of doing, if it's at all possible?
I think a lot of times what we find is the government is putting things into place that are unnecessary and create cost drivers. I mean, the president mentioned eggs last night as one of the key economic success stories that he's had, but it took Nevada removing some government regulations during its last legislative session in order to actually realize those cost efficiencies in the total egg market and to be able to provide the supply that Nevada needed to drive down those costs. And so I think that was an excellent example from the president on something that drives everyday Americans' consciousness. And I think, Sam, it just proves Nevada had put government hurdles into place that made the private market unable to respond to how it needed to do it more efficiently. And it was driving up costs. And eggs aren't the only example of where government does this. And so one of the things that we do at RAND is making sure that we are at least making the legislature aware that when it is passing these laws that are going to drive those costs, that's going to be a consequence. And then, of course, it's frustrating to hear them later talk about prices and gouging when it's their direct legislative actions that are leading to price increases in the first place.
Um, at a time like this, isn't the concept of gouging um, uh, almost stupid, because people are just not going to be able to respond to those increased prices unless it is for something that they can't live without, in which case you're going to see the reaction like you did, for example, with the eggs.
Well, I think so. This might be less true for other industries, but certainly for retail, we are one of the most price conscious industries that there are. You can now compare and contrast with, search engines. You are competing with a small mom and pop in Wyoming for a small trinket that someone is also selling in California. And you're also then having to make sure that as a business, you're compliant in all of those areas. And so I think that price gouging is something that is hard to entertain when your customers are price sensitive enough that a 10% increase or a 25% off coupon is enough to move them and make them make economic changes. And so we are a highly competitive industry. And so what we are looking at is making sure that the level playing field exists for all businesses so that they can be as efficient as possible, but making sure government really gets out of their way as they're trying to do that. And that's what's going to continue to keep prices low.
Zach Conine was on the program, as you know, and we were talking about things being locked up at grocery stores where because of retail theft. And he made the point that it wasn't about retail theft, it was about cutting back on employees, and that those things weren't going away. That was a conscious decision. I have a funny feeling that you might disagree with that.
Adamantly, Sam. I don't know how he could be more wrong in this particular case. We look at our police statistics and our crime statistics coming out of Washoe County and Metro, and we see organized retail crime has continued to go up. Nevada has continually placed in the top 10 places where organized retail crime is happening. And it's happening in all of our neighborhoods. Our larger stores sometimes see $1 million a year in product that goes out the door. But most importantly, it's an employee safety issue. We have countless times where an aggressive criminal has come in and stabbed an employee. Around the country, we've seen where they have shot employees. It is a huge issue when these folks are in the store, and it's causing problems for both customers and the safety of our employees. And so if we can put up deterrents that make it less likely that you will be as successful or that your ROI is going to be great, that's less incentive for you to be in the store causing harm to customers and to employees. I can tell you that our associates are just as frustrated with these procedures as anyone. And in fact, they require more employee work. When someone has to be rung to the aisle to let you in to get deodorant or Tide every single time, that's time taken away from stocking or what the more traditional role that employee should be doing. And so this is a headache. It's going to continue to be a headache until we make sure that we have leaders in office that understand that these are real problems that are causing harm, both physically to our agents, as well as economically. The amount of products that are stolen out of our stores are then resold. That's sales tax revenue that isn't funding public libraries, that isn't going back into funding police, it's not funding the state general fund. And so there's a huge economic loss to this issue as well. And so it's very interesting to hear someone that wants to be the next top law official in the state talk about how this is a made-up story and this crime certainly doesn't exist, when there are countless number of examples and consequences that Nevadans are living through every day because of these actions.
Now, you spoke of organized retail crime, but isn't shoplifting way up as well just because of the economic situation in the country?
I think this has been studied, and there certainly is an economic correlation to when hard economic times hit, do folks, increase on crimes of need. And so we see that. However, that problem's dealt with completely differently, Sam. We are certainly not looking to, put someone in jail for a very long time because they needed baby formula or because they couldn't eat that day. And so we, as sophisticated as organized retail crime is, we are sophisticated enough to be able to tell the difference. And so all of that plays into how stores are operating, how many employees they have to have, what level of security they have to have, and whether or not those doors get to stay open. But when it comes to being sophisticated and matching what organized retail crime is doing, the pure statistical difference between the consequences of organized retail crime and petty theft for need are just astronomical. And so, yes, both are an issue. And so we would expect the next attorney general to be able to understand that and to be able to address both those issues.
We were just having a discussion with Glenn Martell, who's now the Carson City manager, and talking about the big box stores over in Douglas County versus Carson City that didn't want to have those back in the day, and perhaps some people might regret that at this point. But here's the question for you, which is, are we going to continue to see growth in big box stores, or is that day over, or do we just need to reimagine that? Because that's one side of things. On the other side, you look at Whole Foods closing down small stores, but planning to open more big stores. So what's your take on that?
Well, I think this is part of the evolution of how retail is making sure that we are getting all of our products to all of our customers how they want them. And we are now starting to enter a new innovation, actually, that's going to put an additional layer on top of this, and we're getting to agentic commerce. And this is what happens when you combine e-commerce with AI platforms. So how we are going to shop is going to be completely different. Where we are going to shop is going to be completely different. Where our loyalties lie as customers is probably going to change completely. And so we are gearing up for a new wave of how customers are going to be interacting with companies. It may be that there's not a human that visits your website any longer, Sam, even though you might be doing considerable business as a small business. How you optimize your website in order to be able to meet those agentic consumers, which are really just AI search engines, is going to be completely different than how they're advertising to you and I. And so we're gearing up for this new next phase of retail, and we're confident we know where we're going, but it's still going to be, I think, a new process for everybody.
All right, dig a little deeper into that for me. Explain how that would work. Say, for example, I want to buy a new TV. Okay, so my first thought, personally, would be to go online and take a look and see what was out there and what the pricing was. But then I would likely go to a Best Buy or a Costco or somewhere like that and check it out in real life to see what it looks like. and then try to figure out when the sales were going to be and optimize the best time to buy that product. How is that going to change by what you're describing?
Yep. So instead, you are going to go to your favorite AI tool that you use, whichever bot that you prefer. Maybe it's a homegrown one, probably not, but you can choose whichever one you want. Presumably, this AI assistant is prevalent in your life and that you've been talking to it about your preferences, your needs. Maybe you snap a picture of your front room and you tell them, I'm looking for a TV that fits here. Tell me the diameters or what limits that I have. I want it to do X, Y, and Z. I don't want to pay more than $150 for this television, and I would like it within the next 4 weeks. That AI agent then is going to run all of those calculations, decide what the most optimal TV would be in your house, give it more information on your average internet speeds and your connection ability, and it's going to be able to find the exact TV that you want, and it's going to hunt down those prices and find someone that's willing to sell it to you at that price, and then let you know that it's purchased it for you and it's on its way.
Okay, so that all sounds great if you're my granddaughter at age 30. If you're me, how do I get to that level of sophistication? And I do use AI, ChatGPT, Grok, are both used, but I use them as an adjunct to what I'm doing. I try to be the person in control and take the best of what I can find on those engines. But I don't allow them to dominate because I find so many mistakes. Being a public figure with a very long history in the state of Nevada, I can do a search on myself for this program and find lots of errors. And I correct those errors. So, and it's funny when this program comes back and says, oh, you're absolutely correct. That went away 20 years ago. So it's not 100%. But, if you think about computers back in the day, they had one color wire and nobody knew how to plug in their monitor or plug in the hard drive or whatever. And it wasn't till they came up with color coding, so the green wire went in the green slot, the yellow wire into the yellow slot, that it became a mass market product. At what point do you see that we're going to get to that inflection point of where Sam Shad at this age is going to be able to utilize this and not be, to an extent, scared of it?
I think we're probably looking at full, maybe like more in the 5 to 10 year full turnaround to where this might be the most common way that you are utilizing commerce. I think there is going to be a lot of adaptation, and there's certainly going to be a lot of innovators in this space trying to come up with the best widget. And so I expect there to be a lot of economic creation in the next couple of years. I expect there to be some economic destruction as we figure out how this new tool is going to be able to make our lives more efficient.
Okay, let's take a break. We'll come back more with Bryan Wachter. Now he's got my brain going 300 miles an hour. We'll be right back.
Meet Nevada Health Link, Nevada's official health insurance marketplace. Your link to savings, selection, free assistance, and name brand health insurance, where 90% of enrollees lower the cost of their monthly premium. Everyone deserves access to quality health coverage, no matter your income or family size. Visit NevadaHealthLink.com. A few minutes could save you hundreds of dollars per month.
Nevada Health Link. Our plans are made for your plans.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation, and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. But it's more than just growth. Our community is our foundation, supporting families, empowering local initiatives, and creating a place where everyone belongs. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Join us in building a brighter future right here in Story County. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
$175,000 Winter Wonderland giveaways at Tamarack Casino. Win up to $5,000 in cash every week and a top prize of $20,000 in cash during the grand finale drawing. Your good times are at Tamarack Casino.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Bryan Wachter. He's the president of the Retail Association of Nevada. So let's talk a little politics here, as we always do. The governor's race, the governor's PAC is out attacking the attorney general over his travel schedule. Where are we at this point, do you think, with the governor's race?
I think it's early. I think what we know now is that it's unlikely. I think that Alexis Hill's gubernatorial campaign is going to put up a significant challenge, I think, to Aaron Ford's machine. And so, to me, I'm a little bit more likely to say that I believe the November matchup is going to be Lombardo versus Ford. I don't have a lot of faith in democracy if the policy point that decides this election is a travel schedule, Sam. But I think there are going to be clear policy differences between these two candidates, and it's going to be interesting to see how that starts shaping out.
Interesting you say that when you look at the elections over the last more than 20 years, and they're all about 30-second sound bites rather than real issues. Is the public ready for real issues?
I think the public has some real problems that need solved. And so I think it would be miswho of us as voters to not force that conversation to happen.
Also, I wanted to just ask you, what do you make of Alexis Hill's campaign? Because when she first started, I thought, well, this is interesting, chair of the Washoe County Commission, and maybe looking for an opportunity down the road. And yet she is going full-throated on this campaign. What do you think this is all about?
I wouldn't presume to know what it's about. I think there was a lane for victory that Ms. Hill certainly could have capitalized on. I really haven't seen politically her really lean into that yet. I certainly don't believe that she probably has the resources to match the Ford campaign in terms of media. And so that makes it a little bit more difficult. But, I look back at the special session, which was handmade for her issue. She really kind of set herself up on that film tax credit bill. It was beautiful. It tied Ford and the governor together. And I really thought there might be something interesting here. And I really felt like she let that softball slide in November. And that was really, I think, the chance to capitalize on a key issue that was really going to drive some points against her two opponents. And she missed it.
All right, let's take another break. We'll be right back with Bryan Wachter after this timeout.
We're the Peters family, 2 combat veterans, our daughter Elle, and our Liberty Dogs puppy in training, Cooper.
Cooper will grow up to be a life-changing companion to a veteran with visible or invisible challenges.
We're helping Cooper build focus and confidence so he's ready to support his veteran.
And we know he will help bring happiness and independence to his veteran's life.
So join us, become a puppy raiser, and change lives, one puppy at a time.
Retail's impact on Nevada's economy? Enormous. 8,600 businesses, large and small, employing 145,000 workers. And last fiscal year, retail paid tax on nearly $60 billion in sales. We're the Retail Association of Nevada. We support retail, we help it grow, and we mean business.
RANNV.org.
You're in trouble with the law. It's easy to think you'll lose everything, but there is hope. I'm attorney Orrin Johnson. Your first step is to hire a serious attorney with the experience to successfully navigate the legal system for you.
Sometimes hope means addiction treatment instead of jail, and making sure you're treated fairly.
Sometimes hope means fearless trial attorneys who will stand up to the government when they get it wrong. Call or text Orrin Johnson Law.
We'll make a plan.
You'll take back your life.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
Quit points are flying out the door during the Point Party Palooza giveaways going on now at the Carson Valley Inn. Up to 1 million points given away each drawing night. And over 1 million in points guaranteed during the grand prize point explosion. Get in on the action at the Carson Valley Inn.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Bryan Wachter. He's the president of the Retail Association of Nevada. I have to end here on CD2. Mark Amadei surprised me 100% because he was only on the show a couple of weeks ago and gave no indication that he was going to step down. My understanding is there's about 40 people who are already ready to jump into that race. It's starting to sound like when Arnold Schwarzenegger ran for governor of California and there were 50 people in the race and the most recognizable name was Arnold Schwarzenegger. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think first and foremost, we should thank Congressman Amadei for his service in Congress. He, I think, represented CD2 as someone who lived there and understood it. He certainly understood most of the retail issues, certainly didn't agree with them on 100%, but served Nevada extremely well and was a champion for retail issues in Congress. And so we certainly have to thank him for that. I really hope that our next candidate, Sam, is someone like Mark, someone from Nevada, someone who was born here, raised here, understands our issues, and doesn't really need to be talked into it or to move back. And so I really hope that there are some terrific candidates who come out that are from Nevada and who are able to continue Congressman Amadei's legacy for the next decade.
It's interesting that it's such a limited amount of time before the primary, and some people have to make some very serious decisions about whether they want to change their whole life, not just in the campaign, but in the incredible journey it is to go to D.C. every week and have to come back to the district every week, especially to Northern Nevada. Not a simple journey.
No, it certainly isn't. And I think it's going to take someone extraordinary who's got some experience, who's already got a proven record, and who, has a vision going forward that they feel they can carry on and help the president where it's appropriate, but make sure that Nevadans are first and foremost why we're voting in Congress.
Okay, so you figure it's not going to change from Republican to Democrat. Do you have a name for us?
If I'm picking, Sam, I think, James Settlemeyer is an excellent, interesting choice. I think Blame Osborne would be a fun, interesting, youthful character that could provide a much different direction. And so I do think there are some interesting choices beyond those folks who seem to have already signed up. I'm a little bit wary of those folks. I mean, to your point, doing this is an entire life-changing story. It's going to take a lot of work. And so if you've been able to do that in the last 6 days, I have some questions.
Okay, and that's where we have to leave it. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks, Sam.
And we'll be right back.
At Nevada Urban Indians in Reno, your health is our priority. Our medical clinic welcomes everyone. We accept all insurances, ensuring quality care is within reach. Nevada Urban Indians, your partners in health.
Welcome to the Ahern Boutique Hotel, where luxury and warmth come together in the heart of Las Vegas.
We take pride in offering a one-of-a-kind experience for both locals and tourists.
Join us for handcrafted cocktails and an unforgettable experience.
Joel's Chop House, the perfect place to savor views of the Las Vegas Strip.
Satisfy your cravings at the Ahern Chocolate Shop.
No smoking, no resort fees, and the parking is always free. The Ahern Luxury Boutique Hotel is your home away from home.
Check out our archives section on NevadaNewsmakers.com. Great interviews going back as far as 2002. Really worth watching. We'll see you on the next broadcast.